Right, we're sitting here on a bit of a chilly day, midwinter. No, it's actually just gone winter. And I'm here with Mr. Craig Uren, who is Chief Operating Officer of Isuzu Trucks Southern Africa. Now, some years ago, 2007, Isuzu split away from General Motors and to put the focus purely on trucks. And that was a big move for Isuzu. And we saw the difference over the years. Isuzu has grown into a substantial force in not only the South African market, but also the Southern African market, because the focus is on trucks. But interesting, Craig, you mentioned today in the press conference, you've regarded yourself as an OEM, original equipment manufacturer, whose responsibility or focus is up to when the product leaves the gate. And you said you have now changed the focus. You are now calling yourselves an enterprise. What do you mean by that? What are you now becoming as an enterprise? What change is happening? What can we see?
Patrick, firstly, we're not going to sell sausages. So the enterprise bit we're talking about is the focus and the view of business. Enterprise suggests it's very broad-based, and it integrates further down into our supply chain and to the marketplace. So at the end of the day, I think what we've learned in these 8 years since we started this business, what the consumer really needs. And part of becoming an enterprise, you can't fulfill the need of a customer if you're simply going to focus what leaves the factory gate. So this enterprise is really the definition of what suggests our business will focus on the rest of the business, gets right back down into the customer's environment. It includes our dealers, it embraces the supply chain, it embraces our suppliers to provide products and services and the speed to the market, and to eliminate as much of the unnecessary cost in the supply of all this. And it's really more commercially orientated. It's not just about the hardware. The hardware is fundamental to it, but what do you do with the hardware, and how do you collaborate the enterprises in the business to provide a best solution for the customer at the end of the day?
So you're going the computer route, if I may put an analogy, where you've got the hardware is the computer, but without the software, that computer doesn't work. And then you've got apps and you've got all types of things that make that computer work even better. You're going to add all those services and other things.
Well, let me put it a bit differently. We've got lots of people. We need to profile the people in a different way. We have to apply a lot more processes to get efficiencies, economies of scale, and the peoples and the processes, and we have to have a plan. What I've given you today is the plan, where we'll harness our people and the processes to give something that's far different and far more user-friendly and productive at the end of the day to the customer.
Craig, I found that quite amazing that you can take it a step further. You're saying you're going to get, if I may say, closer to the customer, because Isuzu has a reputation of being pretty close to its customers. You spec to a customer's need. I mean, the Durban municipality is one example where you've revolutionized that fleet, if I may, without exaggerating. You have, with all the different specs they've got, they've managed to reduce the number of vehicles. You've always been close to the customer. How are you going to get closer? And I say that it's a compliment to us.
I guess we've got to listen to a lot more of them, because we've only been listening to those that we're dealing with. And the enterprise view is, well, what does our future customer look like? We need to clearly understand what our future customer look like. Yes, we do know our current customers quite well, and we do cater for their needs quite well, but they're a good springboard to get into. We need to clearly understand what our brand, what our products, what our offerings, our services have to be, to what the future customer needs to look like as well.
So it's a path you're starting to travel.
It's
in process.
It's in process. This is not an event, it's a process. Yeah. And we're not in the short-term business. We have to be very forward-thinking, because we've got long lead times, a lot of product development. We're with technology, we're with capital goods. It's fundamental you have a good, solid plan to follow along those lines.
Craig, you also announced today that you have bought a bodybuilder and a chassis, always better with a
chassis modifier.
Chassis modifier. Tell us about that. What's the rationale behind that?
Okay, I think it's part of this enterprise mindset. As I mentioned, it's not really about buying a bodybuilder, but it's part of the process. and that business is the initiator, the consolidator, and the springboard to provide the efficiencies, the economies of scale, the logistical solutions, and how do you give that eventual end good service to a customer at the right quality, etc., and at a speed to the market that justifies the need for speed in this day and age. We're in an instantaneous society, and a truck produces a revenue and it produces a bottom line. So let's not delay that path of a customer. Let's get him into what he needs a little bit more quickly than what we've historically been able to achieve in this environment.
One of the problems, of course, is as a manufacturer and as a dealer, or as a former OEM, and as your dealers, is that you register a chassis cab, then it goes to a bodybuilder, then you have to go back and re-register a new tear weight and all that. That is weeks and weeks of delay. Can I now, as a customer, order my vehicle with the body from you and you register it once, and that cuts out that long time delay?
There are a lot
just on that administration
there
side.
are a lot of those opportunities fit for purpose, and what we find when we have fairly significant contracts where we do numbers of them, that principle does cut down a lot of lead time, because you can homologate and you can register the complete vehicle, and then you're into production mode, not jobbing mode. And yes, if you're going to do one, probably the economies of scale don't lend itself to that efficiency. But over time, those ones hopefully become lots and lots of the same and then the customer will benefit by that.
Yeah, I remember the days of Henry 12 when they used to get those trailer orders of 600 skeleton trailers, and containerization came in. What a beautiful system that was. I don't think we'll ever get to those type of productions again on a one-off, on the same spec. But now you've got the bodybuilder, you've got the chassis modification, you've got a new enterprise on the horizon. So some more exciting stuff to come from Isuzu, because it's been a very exciting run since you went on your own.
Well, I think the economic challenges we have in this part of the world lend itself to need to be different and need to explore better opportunities, better ways, better means for us all to survive and get our little bit of return in what's relatively a small market globally. So yeah, we should be challenging our minds and challenging our efforts, and this is really just part of moving the goalposts a little bit, keep our people thinking and not just doing, and I believe we'll all be successful, and we'll carry a lot of the industry suppliers and people that want to collaborate with us along the ride.
Great. One last question is that the trucking industry has always amazed me in terms of its optimism in the face of, politicians like to call it challenges. Sometimes I hate that word. Huge problems that South Africa's got. Our politics are in a mess. Our economy is not looking good. The business confidence index went down. How do you stay optimistic in all that?
Well, trucks are pretty well plugged into the economy. The economy is good, bad, or indifferent. The economy still needs to move, and you need to use the opportunity in adversity. And our environment, Africa, is moved on trucks and in buses. So I can't see that changing. We just need to get, as I say, our mind moving in the right direction and finding ways to sustain it, keep it going, and keep it efficient and profitable, and a place where businesses want to be. So that hopefully simplistically keeps the positivity coming, because the economies will always be there. You just need to approach them in different ways.
Well, Craig Uren, COO of Isuzu Truck Southern Africa, who's led the company since 2007 highly successfully. And another chapter, another era, a new chapter opening, or perhaps a new book opening. And we wish you all the very, very best with your new plans. And thanks very much for giving us the time for this interview.
Thanks, Pat. See you soon.
God bless.